My name is Jordan Fatou Mangemba. I'm from the Democratic Republic of Congo. I've been in Eastbourne for about 7 months now, and I'm an asylum seeker. I've fled persecution in my country due to political situations, and I'm here in Refugee Radio to tell a bit of my story today.
Welcome to Refugee Radio.
Refugee Radio program. I'm here today with my special guest Jordan, and I have my lovely assistant with me, Noah. Welcome to the program, guys.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much for coming on the program to talk about that, Jordan. Let's start by telling people who maybe they don't know, what is the DRC, or where is that, or what does that stand for? Can we talk a little bit about the country?
Yes, we can. The DRC stands for Democratic Republic of Congo. It's in Africa. It's basically literally in the middle. We like to call it the heart of Africa. Talking about its history, the Democratic Republic of Congo has a multifaceted history. Pre-colonial societies like the Kingdom of Congo thrived before the Belgian regime arrived and King Leopold II. There's a lot of atrocities that was committed during that era, and until today, the DRC struggles from the repercussions of those things that happened back in the day. Yeah, it's a country faced with post-war struggles and a lot of political inequality, and yeah, it's a really struggling nation at the moment, and the world needs to know about what's happening in the Congo because nearly 6.1 million people have been displaced within the Congo and elsewhere around the world due to armed forces like the M23 that has been causing major atrocities, killing, violence, rape, all sorts of things, So, yeah, people need to know more about the Congo and what it has to offer.
And there's two countries, right, with the name Congo in Africa, so sometimes people get confused which one we're talking about, but this is the big one. This is it's the second biggest country in Africa, Congo. I think Algeria maybe is slightly bigger, but it's one of the biggest countries in the whole planet. And this place is massive. My friend told me he grew up in the east, in the Great Lakes region, and the distance from his house to the capital in Kinshasa was as far as it is from London to Moscow.
Wow.
He said that most people, he said loads of people he knew when he grew up, they didn't even know what country they were in. They didn't even know what it was called because it meant nothing to them because they'd never seen anything to do with the government or anything else. So it's the Democratic Republic of Congo, named after the Kingdom of Congo, and the river, the Congo, which is this massive river, which is like most of the country is the sort of flood basin of the river, right? And it was known as, when I was young, it was known as Zaire.
Yes.
So what happened there? Why did it change its name? What was that about?
I believe because I was born in 93 and I was born just within Kabila's regime at the point, and the country before it became Zaire was already Congo. Like you mentioned, it stems from the Kingdom of Congo, and I think because Mobutu had his own dictatorship kind of mindset, he wanted to create this whole new nation and change the flag, the national anthem and everything, and that's why it turned to Zaire. But then when Kabila became president, he turned it back into the Congo.
And you mentioned this is a country that's been fraught with problems. There's been a lot of violence going on at the moment as well, following the wars, and it's a country with a lot of poverty and people struggling with poverty. And yet, technically, it's this incredibly rich country as well because you have so much of wealth in minerals, and yet it's something that it isn't trickling down to the rest of the people. So it's an incredible place, but to a lot of people, I think it's a bit of a mystery, isn't it?
Yes, I'm talking about that. I actually feel like some of the politicians right now in my country most probably inherited these tendencies from the people that oppressed my people, and basically it's mismanagement of resources, basically, because when you look at our natural resources, we have so much to offer to ourselves and to the rest of the world, and if all of these resources were managed correctly, it would give people hope for the future. It would build a proper society where there's proper infrastructure, there's proper drinking water, there's electricity, and people can thrive and grow and have proper education. But like these tendencies have been inherited from the people that were full of greed and hunger, and now that we have claimed our country back since the 1960s, but we still seem to be stuck in the 1960s because nothing much has pretty much developed. If you go back in time and watch some of the footages of Zaire and you go to Kinshasa today, you would see the situation only got worse and worse. There is a little bit of development, but nowhere close to what you see in most first world countries today.
And I think, would you say it's fair to say that although there is a government there, and certainly in Kinshasa there's an obvious government, there's a clear nation state that is the Democratic Republic of Congo, they can't really govern the entire country. It's not like here where there's, the state exists kind of everywhere. It sort of seems to be some places are more governed than others. Is that fair?
Yes, that's very true, because there are certain parts of the country where people don't even see the face of the government at all. So that's why it allows armed forces like the M23 to be able to come and do whatever they like, because you find these remote little areas in the midst of the jungle and there's no police station, there's no hospital, there's no form of security for these people, so they are easily attacked and invaded. And it would be something that I think my president and the government should really focus on, looking after the borders, making sure that the people within the country can rely on the government, that they want us to vote, So, if you want to vote, make sure that people are secure in the place that you know. The DRC's history is multifaceted. Pre-colonial societies like the Kingdom of Congo thrived before Belgian colonization under Leopold II that led to brutal exploitation. Independence in 1960 ushered in political instability and the Congo crisis. Mobutu's 1965 coup marked an era of dictatorship until 1997. The First and Second Congo Wars caused immense suffering. Post-war, the country faces ongoing instability and insecurity throughout the country. Due to armed groups like the M23 and ADF, Felix Tshisekedi's presidency continued to struggle with governance challenges in the destabilized DRC, and in this is something he openly spoke about in one of his conferences. The DRC's history reflects a complex interplay of internal and external forces, resource exploitation, political turbulence, and persistent post-war struggles. The current affairs in the DRC. In 2023, my country appears to be stuck in time similar to the 1960s, struggling with significant social issues, including social issues like inequality, restricted freedom of speech, inadequate infrastructure, lack of social security, inferior educational programs, limited access to clean water and electricity, high pollution, widespread corruption and poverty. The discovery of valuable resources like oil, lithium, and cobalt in the DRC has become a source of contention. Our neighboring countries seek to control these resources, often resorting to border invasions, committing atrocities. Despite the presence of the UN peacekeepers since Joseph Kabila's presidency in 1999, the promises of maintaining peace have not materialized. The post-war struggles persist, hindering our government's effort to effectively govern the entire nation and impeding the country's overall development. The situation reflects a challenging reality, with the DRC facing both internal and external pressures that impedes its growth and progress. DRC is dealing with one of the most challenging and long-lasting humanitarian crises. Approximately 6.1 million people have been forced to leave their homes within the country. there's critical requirement for life-saving services, with humanitarian assistance targeted at 10 million people in 2023 out of the 26.4 million in need. Additionally, there are serious issues involving human rights violations, protection risks like unfair treatment, gender-based violence, property rights violation, theft, looting, property extortion, forced family separation, and attacks against civilians. This situation demands urgent attention and efforts to address the complex challenges faced by the DRC. The Secretary of SADC, Elias Makosi, confirmed that SADC has deployed a mission called Operation Springbok to the DRC in hopes to restore peace.
And you mentioned M23 group.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit, who are the M23? So obviously it's funny because there's like a motorway near Brighton called the M23, so we think of that when we first hear it, but actually it's not funny because these guys are really serious, aren't they?
So the M23 has been there for a while now in the DRC, and no one exactly has concrete evidence to where they come from, but rumor has it and suspicions that because they're mostly coming in from the east side of the country, that it has to do something with Rwanda. And this has caused major conflicts between the two countries, where even right now we are nearly at the brink of war, because Tshisekedi has mentioned that these things need to stop, because if it doesn't stop, it's going to lead to some form of war. So right now we have rumors that the election in December that was supposed to happen might not even happen because of all the disturbances that are happening in the country right now.
And I mean, it's some people are saying that think that the M23, if they're being armed by Rwanda or they're getting financial support from them because they're trying to access this part, they're sort of trying to get this part of the country under their control. Is that what the rumors are anyway?
Yes, because I mean, everybody's fighting for what the Congo has, and Rwanda has been known for exporting cobalt, in which they don't have, and the biggest cobalt deposits are discovered in the eastern part of the country, which is the part that Rwanda keeps invading through M23. So this is why at this point we might even face a major war between the two countries. And on the other side, we have Uganda that is also invading the borders as well. So we are in a serious crisis in the Congo right now. And yes, we have a new president, but he's inheriting all the problems that has been there for years, and he needs international help. We need international help to be able to end these atrocities that are happening in the country, and the displacement of 6.1 million people around the world, in the Congo and outside. And I really think it's something that the world needs to really pay attention to, because these 6.1 million people, where are they going to go? And if they can't be safe in their own country, they're going to end up in your country. And if you don't help these people, they're going to become your problem eventually. So, which means just because something is not happening within your space, it doesn't mean you don't need to care about it. Something far eventually is going to come near. And I think it's really important that people pay attention to this. And if you look at the media coverage, Congo doesn't get so much media coverage at all. If you look at international news, you hear one article or so, one headline, but there's so many things that are going on. In Beni, in the Congo, 26 people were killed most recently. And nobody talks about this kind of stuff, So it needs to be heard. It really needs to be heard.
So you grew up in the 90s, which is obviously a really turbulent time for your country. You had the big dictator, strongman character Mobutu, who was deposed during the 90s. Then you had the Kabila coming in and the wars and everything. Can you tell us a little bit about your early life? What was it like for you growing up then as a boy with all that going on?
Being born in a country that has faced numerous historical and political challenges made life really tough for me. My parents suffered significantly in just keeping us clothed, putting food on the table, working for really minimum wages. We had to several times had to move from one place to another, had to live with either family members that had a place or so, and it really impacted the family life between me, my parents, my siblings. at one stage, I even had to cut out on focusing on studies and try and look for jobs just so I could help around in the house. And I think my childhood was robbed from me, actually. Yeah, my childhood was robbed from me, and I'm 30 years old. I don't have what you call, I think it's called a GCSE here, which is an equivalent of when you finish high school. I could not do it because I lived in a place where there was too much going on, and I had to become a man before my age, and it kind of traumatized me, actually, thinking about it now, that there's certain things as a child that I didn't have the joy of, and I don't know if you can imagine this. When I grew up, we didn't have a TV. We used to have in the community, there'll be one person that had a TV, and we'd have like all the kids from the community would just go out and like he put the TV outside and we watch the TV outside. It was like that, we would walk around barefoot, it's a time, being in England for the time that I've been here, and when I look at my country and just go through what I feel like I was living in a different planet, and I was living like in an apocalyptic world, and for me it's so weird that across the seas, the same struggles we have, people have overcome these struggles years ago, but we're still facing them in the 21st century, which is very surprising for me. You can't say how you feel, everybody's all about money, everybody's corrupt, the police are corrupt, there's no trust, there's mob justice, before you get to the police, the people could deal with you, it's backwards. That's why I feel like we're still stuck in the 1960s, and we need to come out of it. I respect the people that came before us and fought for us to give us a little bit of freedom, our independence in June 1960. I'm grateful for that, but that doesn't mean that the people that fought for it now owns the country and their families, and we now have another battle. We had the big battle we fought, we got over that, and now we're facing a new battle against our own people that are oppressing us, social equality, like inequality, people who only give to people they know, or put people in places because they know somebody because of relations. Without relations in the Congo, you can't survive. If you don't know nobody, you can't survive. People are living off a $1 a day or $2 a day, and the sun is like 40 degrees on a nice day. It's there's not enough words to explain this kind of world until you experience it for yourself. Yeah.
And you left DRC and you came to the UK. So can I ask you, why did you leave your country?
It's a very sensitive topic for me, actually, because in the month of January, I was kidnapped. I faced torture. And this was also due to the environment where I was working at. I witnessed something which in my eyes was a crime. And I spoke out about this to somebody who was in the security. And I thought they were going to deal with it in a way, but it fired back against me. And I would receive phone calls, people threatening my life. And at first I thought it was a joke, because we see it until it starts happening to you and you think it's not real. These people are not serious, until the point where I really was taken. I found myself in a place unconscious, and I just couldn't believe it, that it was actually happening to me, like it was my turn. Now there's a song that the youth in the Congo are singing. They're saying Mama botanga pona liwa, which means it translates to saying that my mother gave birth to me for death. Yeah, that's what the youth are singing now, because one day you're alive, the next day you're gone, and it's painful. It's really painful to be part of a society where you just don't see a future. Like the future is so blurred that it's so blurred. I was a bartender in my country, and it was considered something. It was considered something. But here, a 17-year-old is a bartender. Anybody who works in a bar, it's not a profession. It's just a bar. you know. And when I see that, and I look at all these things, I just it's really hard. It's really hard.
Yeah, and I appreciate that it's an ongoing thing for you, because you've claimed asylum you arrived in February this year. You've claimed asylum, but you still they haven't made a decision, so you don't know if you're staying or whatever. So I appreciate you can't say too much about it, because it's not only is it very difficult to talk about, but actually it's like an ongoing case at the moment for you. But yeah, thank you for giving us that background. You, if you're okay to move on, I was going to ask you about your experience of claiming asylum, what that's been like for you going through the process.
The process of claiming asylum, I didn't really have much to expect, because I've seen worse, you know. I've really seen worse and dealt with people with complete different mindsets. So I was basically just there, and I told them my story, and I actually felt like I was talking to a brick wall, if you think about it, because the person that interviewed me didn't care who I was, wasn't interested in my story, and you know, I was just another number, and he was just doing the shift on that day, and they probably wanted to get out as soon as they could. So, you know, and it was very hard for me, because I was so anxious and depressed, and while I was speaking about it, reliving the memory of this while I'm telling my story actually broke me down into tears, and I just froze, and then I was just told to wait. And at that point they said I should wait, because they were going to organize my accommodation. I didn't have a place to stay in that night, and then I was sent to Eastbourne, where I'm currently staying at the moment.
So this was when you went to Croydon, presumably, at Luna House, and you spoke to them. Was this your what they call the substantive asylum interview, or was it just your screening interview?
I believe it was the screening, I think.
Yeah. Were you just in like a big room with other people? Or
there was a lot of people in the room, yeah. And
so you felt you were expected to sort of tell them all your darkest experiences and tell them all this stuff, and they don't care, and you're surrounded by other people, and you just felt like you felt like you were talking to a brick wall.
Yeah, that's how I felt.
Yeah. So after you had your interview at the Home Office, you found out they were moving you to Eastbourne. Did you know anything about Eastbourne before they moved you there?
No, I actually didn't know I was being sent to Eastbourne until I arrived in Eastbourne. Yeah, that's what happened, because we left, like, I arrived nearly midnight in Eastbourne, so it was at night, so I couldn't really see how the town was and stuff. And then the next day I met another asylum seeker in the hotel, and they started just guiding me around the town, and they told me about Sanctuary Cafe, and I started attending it on a Friday. And thinking about it, I am actually very grateful for going to Eastbourne, because I met a lot of good people in Eastbourne that have been helping me a lot, and even in terms of like clothing, food, you know, just like helping me stay positive. And we did a lot of activities. I'm still doing a lot of activities with in Eastbourne, and like painting, drawing, playing with clay and stuff like that. And all these things, I only discovered here that I actually have a little bit of talent when it comes to certain things, because I never had the time in my country to explore these parts. And yeah, I truly appreciate being sent to Eastbourne, because if I didn't go to Eastbourne, I was probably not going to be on the radio today.
And so you mentioned the Sanctuary Cafe. We should give a little shout out to them. They're a fantastic organisation working in Eastbourne, and they have a big drop-in on a Friday, and loads of people go, and they get all sorts of help with the different problems they might be having, but they also get access to like artistic activities, don't they? I can't remember the name of the guy, but he does the painting sessions there.
Yeah. And, I think Sanctuary Cafe, I mean, without Sanctuary Cafe in Eastbourne, asylum seekers would really struggle, because we wouldn't know what to do, who to speak to, what is the next step. Because when the Home Office takes your claim and sends you to a place. They literally just take you and drop you in one area. And if you don't meet the right people, you could be lost mentally and in everything. And Sanctuary Cafe does a really good job just to bring in the asylum seekers, speak to them, direct them to places like Health in Mind, just to keep the mental health right. They do sessions like walk and talk sessions. There's a lot of activity that Sanctuary Cafe offers, and I'm very grateful for the work they do, and I do hope that they do continue doing the lovely work they do in the future, just to help people who arrive in Eastbourne. And
you find Eastbourne very peaceful and tranquil. Yeah.
Yes, I do. It's so completely different to where I'm from, because where I'm from, it's very, very busy. There's too many people. We're overpopulated in the city of Kinshasa, and there's pollution everywhere. So just being in Eastbourne, it's really a change. It's very quiet. It's calm. The fresh air is really great, and the people are lovely too. So yeah, I really appreciate being part of this community.
Okay, thank you. And we're going to talk a little bit about your present situation and some of the struggles that you're facing.
Currently, I'm struggling with mental health issues. Yeah, it's been really, really hard for me. And even though I went through a process where I was trying to suppress these things within my mind and just trying to cover them, but then they keep resurfacing in different ways. And I just discovered a term called PTSD, and I seem to have most of the symptoms that are tied to this mental health issue, and I've been experiencing stuff like flashbacks. Flashbacks have been a major thing. Even before I got on the show, I actually didn't sleep. I had to drink an energy drink just to stay up now, because I was feeling tired, but my eyes just can't close, and I'm struggling from nightmares, insomnia, nightmares, zoning out, some of these things, I don't even know what to call it, because I'll sometimes just lock myself in my room, or I'll have negative thoughts of where the last time I was thinking about things like sometimes I feel like it's better off being dead than alive, because what I experience, I feel like I've been killed by the hands of my people in my mind already, and I'm struggling to put myself back together. It's like a ceramic cup that you drop on the floor. Even if you glue it back together, you'll still be able to see these cracks in between, and I feel like that cracked ceramic cup, and I don't know how to deal with it. At my age, to be beaten up by men, it's very emasculating. It takes away your confidence. It's I don't know how, when I look at myself in the mirror, sometimes I don't feel the same. Yeah, I feel like something has left me, and I'm just trying to find myself again.
And this is PTSD, or post-traumatic stress disorder, as it stands for, and it's something that can happen to people when they've been through these kind of traumatic incidences, particularly when something's that horrific or it goes on for a long period of time. And as you said, you mentioned the cruelty of it is that you can have nightmares and insomnia. So you can't fall asleep, you're desperate to fall asleep. If only I could fall asleep. Oh, brilliant, I've fallen asleep. Oh, now, great, I'm going to have a nightmare.
Yeah.
And it can be sometimes a nightmare about the thing that happened, or sometimes it's like a symbol of the thing that happened, or something like that. So, all right, so then you wake up, well, now I can't sleep, and I don't want to sleep. And it's a very cruel kind of experience, isn't it? But fortunately, the good thing to say about PTSD is it's not like other mental health issues, in that it is not just manageable and treatable, it is also curable. So through the correct long-term trauma therapy, one can actually get better, as it were, from it. So you're in therapy at the moment, is that right? Or you're accessing therapeutic services at the moment?
Yes, I've been attending a session that Refugee Radio is hosting in Eastbourne on a Thursday from 2 p.m. to 4. And it has been very helpful for me a lot, because at first I started attending they recently just started these sessions, and I was the first one to be part of this group, because I was really struggling with this mental health issue, and I had nobody to speak to. And one day I went to Sanctuary and told someone about this, and they made it possible for Refugee Radio to come to Eastbourne. And there I met another person who also shared their stories and stuff. And then I felt like we all had something in common, which kind of gave me some sort of relief. But yeah, the issues are still persisting in my mind and still ongoing, and I do hope that I continue with the therapy sessions with Refugee Radio. I've also been referred to a cognitive therapist by my GP, and Refugee Radio also mentioned that they referred me to EMDR, which I really look forward to, so that I can just find peace within myself.
Yeah, I wish you the best of luck with that journey. It is a journey, and it does take a while, but there is hope in sight. And like your metaphor of the cup that's been cracked and repaired, and okay, perhaps you can see the cracks, perhaps you will always be the person that these things happen to, but if the crack is repaired with diamonds, then it's going to be the strongest cup in the world. So yeah, and I hope that one day we'll have a conversation in a few years' time and say, yes, now I know what you mean by that, Steve. So yeah, but thank you for speaking up about that. It's very difficult for people to talk about these things, as you say, the fears about opening up about them or sharing them with other people. But when you do talk about them, when you meet other people that have had similar experiences, you do feel, oh, I'm not alone with this. It's not just me. So it is really important and brave of people to share these things. Thank you for that. Could we talk about your sort of situation? So any sort of challenges or barriers to integration you're facing in the UK, especially in the weird sort of situation you're in at the moment, where you don't know what your status is going to be? How have you found it?
It makes me feel like I'm in limbo, and I just don't know when I'll ever hear back from the Home Office or when they'll make the decision. And it's basically like walking around in a cage. Yeah, it feels like walking around in a cage. Even though I do have the sense of safety and security, but I still can't do certain things or have pretty much maybe the same rights as everyone yet until I get a decision. But naturally, I'm always very enthusiastic about learning new things, adopting new ideas and new concepts. It's something that I think that kept me going on in a place that is war-torn, just being self-motivated and having this drive to just like find something. And yeah, I have that same attitude. So it has been quite our cultures are very different, but in terms of challenges, I can maybe say the weather is really a challenge there, but yeah, it's been all right.
So the weather, did you say?
Yeah.
So you're from Kinshasa, right?
Yeah.
And you have thunderstorms all the time in Kinshasa.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Like it's really hot, but there's loads of lightning and thunder.
Yeah. It's weird because when it rains, you see people actually going out sometimes to wash in the rain, because it's not cold. Yeah. Whereas here, it's cold when it rains. Yeah. So it's like completely different. And we have about like 6 months to 9 months of just like hot weather. And when it rains, it really, really rains. It really, really rains, yeah.
But here it's the cold, I guess.
It's the cold,
that's the challenge for you, yeah.
Yeah.
And this is going to be your first kind of Christmas and winter here, I guess. You were here in since February, but this is going to be your first Christmas time
here. It's actually my first winter, actually.
Yeah.
I've never experienced a winter like this before.
So you're going to see snow and frost. That's going to be new for you.
It's going to be very new.
It doesn't snow in Kinshasa?
Not at all. Never.
And have you had any other things that you found culturally that are, that's really, the things that you've noticed that are really different here in the UK to back in the Congo?
I've noticed people like tea and coffee a lot. Yeah. And people eat a lot of fast food. I just like the freedom everybody has. Not even just like people can dress how they want. I'm not like we can't dress how we want, but like it's like you could be anything, and no one's people aren't judgmental to how you want to look, what you want to be. And where I'm from, people are very judgmental, you know, like, oh, why'd you look like that, or why'd you dress like that, or because of our cultures, you know. Most of the older generations like that, but because of the internet now, we see a lot of stuff on the internet, and we want to be like everybody else who's on the internet. So it was kind of easy for me to understand, okay, yeah, it's like this. But I think the cafes really, yeah, a lot of tea drinking, and the pubs is everywhere. The pubs.
And how do you feel about this idea of being in exile, or your identity of your who I am here in another country?
That part is something that I'm still figuring out, because growing up in the country, I grew up in having all these differences between there and here, and I'm kind of like in the middle of it, and I haven't found my identity in exile yet, but I always carry my heritage with me. I mean, I always carry that with me, but I do hope to become a new man. Yeah, to become a new man and rediscover myself and heal myself from all the traumas and just move forward, you know? Yeah.
In the Democratic Republic of Eastbourne, or the DRE.
The DRE.
You're going to have a new man there. Let's talk about the future then. I know you've got some plans and hopes for the future, what you're looking to do.
Yeah,
here,
my hopes are actually to further my education. I wanna go back to school and study further and build a life of stability and security.
And then you're talking about as well. We've talked about mixology.
Yeah.
Because you were a bartender before.
Yeah.
And is this something that you're hoping to pursue in the future, or is it something that you just might do as a sideline?
I don't really know, because I want to be able to build a stable life, and I'm not sure if following that dream will be able to do that for me. So, yeah, I'll see how that goes. Yeah,
it's tricky to know how big you can dream. I guess. Can we at least tell people about your signature cocktail, or is this a secret? Because once word gets out about it, you're worried other people might start making it.
Yeah, let's keep that a secret for now.
All right. Well, I'll just say for our listeners, it sounds delicious, and Jordan's not going to reveal the secret recipe, so we're going to have to wait until the future. Maybe we can let you know about it. But but don't go trying this at home. Do you have something that you would like to add as a message to our listeners?
I do have something I would like to add, and what I would really like to say is no one wakes up thinking, today I want to become a refugee and seek asylum. Circumstances beyond our control often lead to such situations. Our lives are profoundly influenced by the decisions our leaders make. This pattern has played out throughout history. To all world leaders, let's make decisions that prioritize the interest of humanity above all else. What I find very difficult actually is being in this dark place and trying to stay positive at the same time. Because sometimes, like now, you see me smile or I'll laugh because maybe we said something. But every time I'm in a space where I'm with different people and I engage, as soon as I leave that space, I go back into this dark space, you know, and it's really hard for me to completely stay out of the darkness of all these traumas, these atrocities, my history, everything that's going on around my world, where I come from, where I am, what I went through, and where I am here now, my situation here now. I try to look for positive things just to keep me going, because without things to keep me positive or smile or even laugh, I might lose myself, you know. And like I said earlier, just having thoughts of feeling like maybe life is better off when you're not alive, which is a strange thing to start thinking about, you know. And yeah, I just wanted to make that clear out there that so many people have so many opinions about asylum seekers. Oh no, they're here for this, they're here for that, they want this, they want that. I would never in my life choose to be in the situation I am in right now. I would never choose that. If I had the opportunity to choose, I would never. And yeah, I just want that to be out there, that we are in this situation, or I am in this situation because of the situations that has happened and that is ongoing on in my country and in every other country that's people are fleeing from war, from persecution, from torture, from slavery, from all sorts of things. And we live in the 21st century where we have governments, we have law. Why can't these laws play out fairly in all the countries in the world? Why can't we have the same human rights that's in the United States, that's in the United Kingdom, that's in Europe, everywhere else, in the Middle East, in Asia, in Africa? Why can't we have one law that just prioritizes humanity's safety and security and its financial well-being? Why can't we just have that? Why do we have these little parts of the world where, like coming out to the UK, it's like a veil is opened out. Like I've never seen a world like this before, but yet it exists on the same planet. That's not fair. That's not fair. I'm not saying that it's not fair I'm just saying it's not fair that the other people on the other side are going through so much. And I just feel like we need to come together as humanity, because we do need the world to heal. We need the world to heal because today's generation is the future generation. Today's youth are the ones that are going to lead the world in the future. And if we don't fix this now, when are we ever going to fix it? We're going to keep going on with the same problems 300 years down the line with the same problems. This is the time to sort all these things out. Yeah, it's really important that it happens. We see the war in Gaza, children that were born. I saw a video, a 2-month-old baby just died. What do they deserve to live for 2 months? That's not fair. That's not fair. We need world peace. We need world peace everywhere. It's really, really important that this happens. And it's an emergency. It's urgent. It needs to happen. I'm a victim of these kind of things that are happening in my country and elsewhere. So many other people are victims of these things. And no, we need to stop. This needs to stop. It needs to end the cycle of bloodshed, of hunger, of starvation, of greed, exploiting human natural resources, No, we have all the technology to solve our problems. We have. We just need to make the decision and decide we're going to make a new world. This is how it's going to be, and that's how it's going to be.
Hi, welcome to Refugee Radio.
Do you want to tell us about Papa Wemba's "Show Me the Way" as well? If you could just tell me why you want to play that track.
Papa Wemba is basically a Congolese icon. He's influenced our nation and so many people elsewhere in the world, internationally. Why I related to him so much, because he used to be my dad's favorite artist as well. And this song, he's basically saying, show me the way, He's looking for the light. He wants to get to the end of the tunnel, and he seems to be in a place where he's lost and can't find himself, and he's just begging for somebody to show him the way. And I feel like this. I feel like I need somebody to show me the way, because where I'm at, I'm in a dark place and I'm lost and I'm trying to find myself, and I just need somebody to help me, show me the way. So Papa Wemba it is.
Okay, Papa Wemba, show me the way.
Yeah.
Take me by the hand, show me the way I can go. Take me by the hand, show me the way.
Okay, so that was Papa Wemba with Show Me the Way, as chosen by my special guest today, Jordan. And also we have Noah in the studio. Thank you so much for both of you for coming today. Jordan, thank you for telling us about your experiences of leaving the DRC and coming through to the UK.
It was a pleasure to be here. Thank you very much for having me and giving me the opportunity to make my voice heard. These are the things we've been talking about, just these opportunities of being in a space where you're having the freedom of to express your views. And I truly appreciate your time and being here. And thank you very much for everyone who's listening. And yeah.
Yes.
Thanks so much, Jordan, and to Steve for having me here. And Jordan, like I said, for sharing what you've shared. I think it's so important for people to hear those messages and those stories, and it's facts and issues that people are aware of, but once you have those human stories to bring it to life, I think that's, like you said, is what's going to change the world, at least maybe not as urgently as we want, but I really think spreading these human stories is the way forward. So thank you, Jordan, and thanks, Steve, a lot.
Yeah.
Okay, well, you've been listening to Refugee Radio on Radio Reverb 97.2 FM and online via our website www.refugeeradio.org.uk. You can also catch us on Spotify and other good purveyors of podcasts such as that. And thank you to Noah and Jordan in the studio, both of whom have much nicer radio voices than me, unfortunately. So I think they're going to be the new presenters as of next week. So thank you for listening, everybody.
Thank you. Ciao.
Thank you.